Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome wherever you are in the world, whether you're watching us on a television platform or listening on a radio platform, podcast platform. We are thrilled to have you. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and this is USA Global TV and Radio. We provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. And for all of our entrepreneurs out there, we help you sell your vision. Today's show is Coexistence and Sustainability with Pet Psychic Amina. And she's going to be sharing with us some inexpensive and yet creative and fun ways to train your dog and then reward them. How about that? Yay. All right, let's welcome her from sunny California. Welcome. Hello, hello.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's somewhere behind one back of clouds here today, but we need it. We need the rain. We need the clouds. We need the whole cycle of nature.
Exactly. It's raining here today as well. And, I have to share with you, as you know, we're a global platform and we have a number of people on this platform, whether they're team members or guests, they are literally living without heat. Can you imagine in the winter without heat? That is tough.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can only say that I've experienced it when my parents' heater went out in a 2-story house. So the heat all goes through the roof anyway, because we didn't have the insulation we have today.
Right.
And it's amazing what we can put up because the walls are better. The stuffing is all in the walls, but it's tough. And can you imagine the people who don't even have that as an option?
I know.
They don't have air conditioning heaters or whatever.
In some cases, it's that where the home or the apartment, wherever it is, it has that ability, but they can't afford it because energy prices are so high. So we have a lot to be grateful for. And as you know, something else that keeps us nice and warm is our dog, our pets. And you've been training pets for years. Tell us a little bit about your experience as a pet trainer.
Well, the first experience I think people discount is real life. And what I ended up kind of getting thrown into like the dog era was that we were in escrow to buy a house. And I want to say it was like the first or second house we ever bought as a couple. And my kids were really small. So the realtor said when we went to go see it and he wasn't going to be able to be there with us, so they set it up to somebody to open the doors. He said, I just want to let you know there's a really big German Shepherd in the backyard. And I said, but nobody lives there. And he said, yeah, they left it. So that was my first and last big dog. I'd had them when I was younger, but we bought the house because we were already in escrow when we were going through this last walkthrough, and he was sweet. And they had a 60-foot, the tank for your sewage. And they had taken the tank out and they left the hole. So here's a dog all by himself in the backyard. The neighbors are throwing food over, I think, at some point. And he's running around there. He could have fallen in that hole and nobody would have known. You probably couldn't even have hurt him. Luckily he didn't, but we took him on and ended up having a wonderful therapy dog that I used to get into that walk of my life.
Well, you just have such a big heart. And, it's so funny. I thought about you right before I came onto the show. I had a conversation with someone who's interested in coming on board. And she actually is a rescuer of chickens. And she was telling me about a woman she knows who rescues owls. And they have tons and I don't even know how many owls they have. But and I mentioned to her that you had shared once an animal is touched by a human, then they really can't go back out into the wild. And she said that's absolutely true. These owls can never go back. But people
Right.
take in the owl as a pet. Have you heard of this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's illegal in like every state part of the country as we can, but there's not enough people to go around and regulate that.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
can only do it after the fact.
You have an owl in your house.
Yes,
Hello?
hello. I understand you have a lot of poop on the floor. Because they're not.
Why would somebody want an owl as a pet?
You want the honest truth? I'm
Yes.
sorry to offend anybody. It's our ego. Hello. How
Oh,
many? I
know.
cannot tell you how many men and women. Maybe men did it more earlier, but they would have pythons. They would have now they're constrictors, so they just squish you to death.
Oh, that's after they swallow you, right?
Yeah, they could. They could if you're going to go to the tournament. But what I see it, and what I would think Fish and Wildlife, the organization that manages all of this, is people are really going after the really dangerous ones. They're putting in rattlers in their home. They're got biting lizards that have saliva that will literally kill you. On and on and on and on. Why do they do this? Because it's cool in their head. Because it's not cool. It's not cool for us to take wildlife, tie them up and say, hey, you're my pet. That is how cats and dogs came about. But what the difference is, dogs specifically were to get us from part A to part B. There wasn't a car that you jumped in and say, hey, we're going to go to the grocery store. You went out and hunted for that, or you were in a place where it snowed and you needed somebody to pull the sled and you didn't have enough friends to do that. Dogs are pack animals. They are made for group living. Cats are not. So you have to respect their want to be left alone and taking a nap all day long or all that. And so pets came about. The problem I have is the exotics. They don't domesticate typically. I'm never going to use an all over statement. They are usually so high maintenance. If you're going to get anything in the reptile family, you have to have the right heater. You have to have the right food. You have to feed them on the right time. You got to have the right water. The list goes on and on and on and on. If they get sick, nowadays you very well might find a vet that can help you, but that has not always been true.
Excellent points. Thank you. And we do have a comment, by the way, and I just want to thank this person for joining us. It's Rosel Mia. I hope I said that right. Great live. Thanks for watching over on Facebook. We appreciate you. Well, today's topic is inexpensive and creative ways to train and reward your dog. And we've done this topic before, but I think we've gotten such great feedback and people want to hear more about it. And we were just talking about how you've been training pets for years. You're a pet psychic. You're a public speaker. You have had many different careers in your life. And every time I talk to them, like, wow, I didn't know about that. That's pretty cool. But at the heart of everything, you love animals and you want animals to be treated humanely. And your way of training does not involve hitting or yelling or anything else. So let's dive into it. Tell us a little bit about how to be humane with our pets, and then we'll get into different tricks and rewards.
Absolutely. And I'm going to back up even one more step, because what you said is so valuable and so important to encourage, drill it home on everybody. Everybody, people, your boss, your coworkers, your pets, all of us have a moment where we're like, no, I don't want to do that. No, I really don't want to do that. And I'm not going to do that or whatever. And we get into conflict. When we are choosing to have a child and raise that child or have a puppy or have a cat or a lizard or a snake or fish or whatever you've decided to coexist with in your home, where you are going to be siblings and or family members, respect is the first thing. If you don't respect the fact that your lizard needs the temperature to be 80 degrees and above or around, or have a special light bulb or a cage for that, then you're going to have the sad experience of them dying, because that animal has no way to regulate their own temperature. So we have heaters and air conditioners and floor fans and all that kind of stuff in our own homes. But that wasn't the way it always was. A lot of people suffered. A lot of people died of frostbite in their own cabin because logs just don't hold the heat back. So remember, you won't be the first, you won't be the last, but you could be the only one in your household. Because as the human, as the one who's either made the purchase for this animal and or decided to rescue this one, or one has dropped in your lap, which I've had quite a few of those, but I'm a different person. That is who I am. Yes, I took on a German Shepherd with 2 baby kids. My children are only 18 months apart, and they were just barely walking. And everyone's like, "You're taking on an attack dog?" No, German Shepherds aren't on a given attack. It's how he's raised. But you don't know how he's been raised. He's been dumped in a yard. Yes. So there was work to be done. And I never, ever, ever left my children alone, unsupervised, with Jake, which was our German Shepherd's name. And they learned so much about don't pull his ear, don't pull his tails, all that little. They were the height of the Shepherd. The Shepherd was a pretty standard. It was not one of the giant ones that people breed. You need to know what you're getting into. And when you don't, that's when all of us professionals are out here giving free advice, giving free knowledge. You need to get a vet, somebody that you can trust. If you can't, move on. And there's lots of great vets out there. Nowadays, YouTube and so many of us are giving free advice. And that's what we're going to do today.
Thank you, Amina. A question I have for you is, I happened to be in a shopping center and I walked by, they had a dog training studio and it said all types, all breeds. How do you know when you need to have someone professional work with your pet as opposed to watching YouTube and watching lives like ours to get some tips? When is it obvious that you don't have what it takes to train the pet, or the pet's just not responsive?
I can't tell you how appreciative I am for that question. I don't come preset with all these things I want to make sure we cover, because you and I have built this wonderful professional relationship that you don't realize how powerful that question is. So ask me again. Let me give you the weight of it.
Okay. So my question is, there are brick and mortar places where people can go to train their pets, and people can try learning how to train with the techniques you're going to talk about, or they can go on other YouTube channels. How do they know when it's time to bring in a professional like yourself, that they've tried all these things and the pet's not responsive and the owner is just getting frustrated?
The rosy answer would be, don't get to that point. And why I say that is because all of our animals are as unique as all of the people on the planet. My suggestion, my encouragement is go find a professional first. Because think about this. If you had a child and you decided that eating ice cream, candies, ding dongs, whatever sugary, fattening, non-nutritious food was fine because it was fine for you, or whatever, it was okay for you, and your child ended up being massively obese and then had a heart attack at 6 years old, believe it or not, can happen. It's very, very rare. And they, in their entire growing years of bones and skins and their body is therefore not put together strong and clean to go chase a ball which the dog would do or the child would do. When we don't take our health and what we consume, and it's, we need 4 Cokes a day to get through, and the caffeine and or the coffee, and then we chase that up with a few donuts and da 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 da. But there was no vegetables, there were no fruits, there were no, balance. How does that happen? Well, it happens to our children. It happens to our pets. People need to understand, we all need to understand, animals deserve quality food to live their best life the same as people do. And nowadays, we are living in amazing time. There are organic dog foods, cat foods, squirrel foods. Hopefully you don't have squirrel, but people do. Snake, all of that type of stuff. You can now find on the glorious internet web and or so many other places that will supply you with crickets, because you're dealing with a lizard or a snake or something, or you can buy your rats already dead, so you don't have to kill them, and or feeding live prey. You don't really want to do that with a captive animal. All of these things now are a Googled search away, and you can get these things that stay in the freezer and maintain their nutrition, and you've got liquid vitamins, you've got all these types of things. Especially the exotic pets, I really need to stress this. They have very specific dietary needs. You can find somebody who's already hunted them, froze them, got them, because you're not the only person that owns a python or that kind of lizard or whatever. Right now, it is a big still industry, and it seems to have really locked in, where about 20 years ago, this was rare. You had to go either find your crickets or the people that were doing aquatic and koi ponds and all that, because they were doing them in stores and in fountains and in parks. These had a little bit more time, it seems to me, to really do a great retail business. Coming up was a natural step. Going for python, snakes, all of these other things, it took much more time, because also they were regulated pretty heavily. Now, are Fish and Wildlife and or other police or entities running around checking people's homes? No, they're not doing that. But like most of us, we love talking about it. We love posting pictures about it. Our pets, they find out. They find out eventually. Nowadays, we're in a much healthier place, because we have better caging, we have more natural caging, we have better food. You can get it, just Google it, and you can get freeze-dried rats and mice and all of that, and you didn't have to kill them. And they're still, now you'd have to talk to your vet, not a vet, and make sure they're nutritionally still very, very viable for your animal.
Yeah, I don't know about purchasing those rats, but I know on another show you said they're highly intelligent, right? I did read where
Yes.
rats, they know when water levels start to rise, they start climbing up the top of the buildings into the roof.
Yeah, they're the best weather predictors. If you want to know what's going on, check in with an animal. If you know this, what I really loved when we had our shepherd was we lived in a like a condominium area, but our doors were fairly close. So you weren't really sure if somebody was coming to your door, because you could hear them walking on the tile or wherever it was, especially when we were in an apartment and had a hallway. I always just look at the cat. And my husband would say, how do you always know if somebody's coming to our door or, 4 doors down? I said, because I look at Thomas. And he's like, the cat told you. And I was like, no. In those days, I didn't talk about that. I can actually hear him talking to me. But I like, no, just look at him. If they're coming to our door, your dog or cat specifically will pick up their head and look at the door. Most dogs will go to the door and smell it, because they are getting a pre-smell of what the person brings with them, their odor and if you're angry, you give off a different energy, but you also smell different. If you're happy, you smell different. If you just replace the oil in your car and got it all over you, you smell different. So your animals are not worried about that's Bob or that's Karen or that's whoever that you call them by name. They know them by scent. That's how animals can track you. You just walk on the ground, you got shoes on, but they can still track you. So just know you need to have that awareness.
And there's a bird talking to us right now. I don't know what it's saying.
You want to be part of the conversation.
Yeah, it's definitely, yeah. Anyway, when we think about bringing a pet home, okay, it's a part of our family. It's a responsibility financially, emotionally. It's for a long time. We want to treat our pets with respect. And we want our pets to be able to, I don't want to say follow orders, but take coaching just like people. We want to be able to coach them. So you've developed some creative ways by going to the dollar store, not a paid spokesperson, and other places. And I'm just wondering if you could share some of them, which are even for cats and dogs, depending.
Right.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen, you can do this at a fabric store. They have little pom-poms. Sometimes you'll see it on people's hats or they decorate them on things. The dollar store has like a plethora of some things and just a choice of, oh, I hadn't thought of that. So what I love about it is it gets me that outside of the box. And I really live outside of the box. So what I'm going to show you is a good old fashioned Kleenex box. Now, you want to get rid of the plastic. But do you know how many hours of excitement this box will be for a cat? And you can put a little ball of any kind, even for the cardboard, you could now never, ever, ever use marbles. Let me be really clear here. If you use marbles, they have to be sealed into something because they can be swallowed by a child and or by a pet. No marbles loose, but they would make a great sound, right? So you can use them in that way. I have all kinds of things and I try to keep them around. So look at this. Now these are vitamins, but there would be so simple to just put one little bead. Now, do you want your animal to actually get the bead and swallow the bead? No, that's why lid, and you can tape it in place and you can see that's what I have. I have it taped in place because this is not one that is open. There are so many creative ways that you can create your own toys according to what your animal is interested in. No, not everybody's interested in that. So that's why you go to the pet store. You get all the great ideas you can get there. What can you make? What we find, now I haven't shopped in a while, but what we find is receipts. You know, the ones you get when you buy something, they're made on what we call thermal paper. That's how it's all printed down. They're not toxic. So if one rips off and your animal swallows it, hopefully it's not the whole receipt. That would be a problem because it's not necessarily biodegradable, but you scritch it all up. And we have tiled floor almost everywhere, carpets in between. We throw that thing down, shoo, there goes the cat. This is a great way not only to interact with your animals, but also to redirect them from something they shouldn't be doing. This is the same with raising kids. Instead of, we're going to get out a ruler and smack their hand, well, that doesn't build much of a relationship with somebody who gets smacked all the time. But if you have something, and as an aunt and having little kids around and or babysitting, believe it or not, now I don't want to give my glasses to my child and or niece or nephew or person I'm babysitting, but there's a lot of games you can play, like the glasses go on, the glasses go off. It's distraction. That's what little sounds make. And you can see, if I would put a bell in here, too much fun because it would roll all over the place because this is round. They're not very expensive. And a lot of times they come in whole sets because this This, where I bought this, came in a whole set. Guess what it was for, Dr. Jacalyn? This little container. What do you think it retailed for as its description?
$12.99.
But what were they marketing it towards? What type of person was going to buy this to do what?
I don't know. Is it multiple choice?
Yes, multiple choice. Let's make it easy. Multiple choice, because it could be multiple choice, but it's very small, as you can see. It's only a little bit by a finger, and I got like 12 of them, because you could get a set, or you could get 4, or you could get 3. So you could, but you never got one. Nobody ever sold one. They sold them as sets. So what do you think this was by the manufacturer and the label? I'm not going to tell you what store I bought it in, because you can get them at dollar store. You can get them at other stores, but I don't want to name the other stores.
Spices?
What is it?
Spices?
Oh, it would be good for spice, but no, that wasn't what it manufactured for. The label on this set. And when I bought the first one, it was, I think, 10 of them. And they came in a little tray of these little things.
I don't know. Candles?
Beadwork.
Oh, beads, of course. Beads.
5,000 little beads. You got all the blue ones in this one. You got the red ones in that one.
Oh, yes.
And so I went to a craft store, and, it actually was Michael's. And I just walked in and said, that will hold my pills. And I've had it now, I don't know, 15, 20 years. That's why this poor one got a cracked leg, but only the one. But I've got the whole tray. So if you need it, but that's what I'm asking you. This might be a really great Kleenex box, and I'm really thrilled for you. But if you remove the plastic, it makes the most fun climb in and out little cat box, like for a kitten, and it's harmless. The cardboard, if they do chew on it, is wood pulp, so they don't necessarily going to die from it, but you don't want them to chew on all of it. Cats, dogs, little people, they're going to chew on it. So you do need to monitor. You do need to watch them. But what else could you possibly put in here? You move the plastic, and it's got a little opening, so you could put all kinds of little treats or something. It could be for your pet. It could be for your child. It could be a really clever, if you're really one of those clever people, you could really do something fabulous as like a box that you wrapped a gift in. And the t-shirt you made for them is rolled up inside. I don't know. There isn't an end to the creativity of you saying, like me, hey, that'll fix my medication, my vitamins I want to take a day. And I can put it in my purse and know that's the one I'm using. I just got lucky that I cracked the lid. And so the one I used for that day's medicine, the lid moves from bottle to bottle. So I know which one I'm using.
You've got a system figured out. Now tell us more about something that is in the kitchen, which is aluminum foil.
Absolutely. But aluminum foil is on the dangerous side. It can have very sharp, pokey edges, especially if you squish it all together and then try to flatten it all out. Foil is also highly dangerous to ingest. If I'm going to worry about my cat jumping in and out of the cardboard of a Kleenex box, the wood pulp is pretty neutral. Their stomach will do a pretty good job on small pieces to digest. If you find your cat is eating the Kleenex box, it's time to stop using it, because that's just too hard on this digestion system to constantly be chewing piece after piece after piece. What I'm talking about is if it's accidental or you find them doing it, nobody will necessarily die. You have to eat quite a bit of the Kleenex box. But if you're going to go to a different ingredient and or a different way of doing things, you really, really have to, especially when you're introducing something new. If you're going to introduce something new, you got to be there, like for weeks, not just once. Oh, it was great this time. Oh, no. You got to make sure that it doesn't taste like food, it doesn't act like food, and therefore it's not consumed. It's the same watching small children. You really have to watch them, because everything with small children and pets is to taste it, is to try it, to lick it, to touch it. And if any of those things are not safe to do, especially unsupervised, then don't allow it to be done. I've talked about this before, and I'm going to stress it again. I have a ficus that I bought as a little bitty thing, and it's not little anymore. It's not terribly tall because it was kind of sick when I got it on the I'm half dead part of the nursery. But I keep it covered in a corner so it gets plenty of sun, because I don't have a lot of sun in my house, and yet it is completely blocked from the pets having access. First of all, I don't want my pets digging in the dirt. So there's pebbles and rocks covering it, which also creates more moisture, so I don't water as often. But it also is out of not their vision. They can see it, but it's not on the way to anything. It's not fun. I don't let them dig in it. So you've got to balance what must be done and what might need to change, et cetera, et cetera. Be flexible. Be flexible.
What about a ball of yarn?
As long as you're there to supervise. Because think about, what is floss? Floss is nice waxed little string, right? How is that different to a pet than yarn? That's so we've got to get out of our own head and say, what does it look like down here? And I honestly say, if you don't know, sit on the floor, see what they see. And I mean, if you really want to see what they see, lay down on the floor, because you're going to get the really exciting part is what's hiding under the cabinet edge. Because I don't know about you, but we have cabinets, around the sink and the stove and all that. And then it has the little space underneath. Well, that's where my toes fit, I assume. I don't have to knock myself into the cabinets. But how many of us don't realize, no matter how much you clean or don't, whatever, how many things have you lost and you don't even know they're down there? Let's say you were chopping chili peppers. Great recipe. You were thrilled with it. And even one little piece gets down there. For the wrong pet, for the right pet, whichever way you want to look at it, it could kill them. It could create a reaction, or because animals can be allergic to things too. It doesn't have to be just that's not really healthy for them to eat. There's a lot of things we eat that's just not healthy to eat. But you need to be diligent about that space that is like nowhere's land that most of us don't do anything about until we go through with the mop or the, vacuum or something once a week, whatever it is. And some people it's never. Those are traps waiting to literally entice your pet to say, let's try it. Animals are very tactile. It's about what they feel in their paws and their tail going up, but they're going to try it. They're going to lick it or smell it really close. If you and I went around smelling chili powder, our noses would break off. Not literally, but you're really going to do a lot of damage inside. This is no different for a pet. None. There's so many times we have been chopping onions and we didn't see a piece went down. And it's one thing if they licked it, which a chopped onion, especially if it's just a yellow onion, whites are going to be a little bit stronger, et cetera, green peppers, whatever. But if it's something powder and they sniff it up, how are you ever going to know? How are you going to know until the damage is already done to their nostril? This is really, really important that we keep an eye on what we're doing, how we're doing it, and cleaning up appropriately afterwards.
Great tips. Thank you. And is there anything else that you want to share in terms of something that people can use at their home to reward their pet? How about different food options, peanut butter? You've mentioned some things over the years. What are you thinking?
Spam. It's really great. But when I say spam or bologna or anything that would be just hanging around your house, when you are treating a pet, and I mean, you're just saying, wow, you've been great. First and foremost is your attention. That is the number one thing that your pet wants. especially your pack animals, they want time with you. Our cats are this way. They are so people attentive. They want to come in and sit next to you, even if you're too busy. My daughter and I both work from home, as you guys can see, but not my daughter. And she also still works from home. And our 3 cats follow her all over the place because she's so busy. By the time she gets a chance to pet them, it's like golden hour because it's not something she does all the time. For me, I'm always mugging them and petting them, and I'm more mobile because I can talk to a client on the phone and still walk around, which I do a lot. And so they've seen me as always on the move. If you know that you have a place, especially, let me pick the bathroom, and you have body powder, you have baby oil, you have hairspray. Nobody can control where hairspray goes. I'm sorry. When you spray it on yourself, it's gonna go everywhere, which means it's gonna be on the walls and gonna be on the floor and all that. Remember, your pets, bare feet. And if they're cats specifically, dogs also lick themselves and their feet and all that. They are consuming, they are eating hairspray, body powder, deodorant, if it's sprayed, especially. Sometimes the deodorant, even the solid ones, have particles will break off and you will never see them. But your cat or dog will go, "Ooh, cool, let's try this." They're very, 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 very much about testing everything with their mouth. Worse than babies. So you need to be aware. When you pick a floor cleaner, you have got to be aware of what's in it. And if you are in love with things like Lysol and air fresheners and all that kind of stuff, please, please, please find a better way to do it. Because you're putting out like strawberry smells in your house and it smells great, but it can actually burn the inside of your pet's nose. It is really, really detrimental. Now our pets are adapting better and better. That doesn't mean it's still easy or correct. So be careful. If you're going to spray perfume on yourself and you're going to go out for this great day and dinner and whatever, do it in your bathroom where the cat or your dog doesn't walk on the floor, or you have a carpet that you can turn over or wash so that they aren't going down there and going, "Oh yeah, mom's doing that stuff." Because a lot of the perfumes, the animals are like, "Oh, this is great." And then they get sick and you don't know why. The vet doesn't know why because there's not enough telltale signs. And it could be as simple as they ate something off the floor and because they now have digested it, you didn't know they were allergic to it, or it was not good for them because it was so moldy, whatever it was, or it's perfume on their paw and they licked it off, etc., etc., etc. Remember, we cannot see everything our pets are into until sometimes it's too late. So that's what I'm trying to really, really help you with that. And I know our topic today is training and rewarding your dogs. This is going to be the same thing. Time with you, any training that anybody does, the very first thing I'm going to tell you to do is spend quality time with them, not just training, because that's truly the best gift, and time is what your pets want. Now, not all pets, especially if you're going to talk about cats and things like that, want a lot of time with you. We have one cat that's like, I'll come and ask. I'll put up with a few petting and then I'll come and ask. So know the personalities. But with your dog specifically, you want to maybe have more of these creative ways. Maybe the baloney doesn't work anymore, but your time and attention while you're training works better. This is what you guys have to decide as executives of your life and your pets. Find what works for them. Peanut butter is an amazing thing. Great, healthy fat, and a little scoop on your finger to get their nose involved. Let's say you have a pet that just never pays attention to you. You got to find that one scent. Is it peanut butter? Is it Velveeta cheese or something else? That does not harm them, but gets them to look right at you and go, oh, he's got that yummy stuff. Building a positive relationship, starting out with nobody getting anything off the floor that you don't know what it is, and have a command, especially for your dogs. Cats can do it too, and say, whoa, what's in your mouth? And hopefully you can get them to go and show you what's in their mouth before they swallow it, and you have to get to a vet, God forbid. But all of these things come with positivity on your side and inclusivity, and just saying, hey, I want you to be a really great positive thing in our family. I don't know about you, we do not tolerate cats going potty out of the box. That's just gross. We don't wear shoes in our house, and luckily we haven't stepped on any because we've got all our cats. But we also put our cat boxes in very, very, very easy places to get through. Now they're all in bathrooms, except for mine. I have one in my room, and I blocked off a whole thing of my closet where it doesn't get my clothes all dusty, and the cats can get to it really, really simple. And I'm thrilled for that. And there's a mat on the floor. So I'm constantly being able to clean up the litter that doesn't get tracked out onto my carpet. Just think past one step. And in all other things, what is everybody going to actually survive through? If you don't think it's safe, don't do it.
There you go. Don't do it. Get on the floor, see what it's like to be your pet, and
Thank you.
what they have to experience and confront, and then respond accordingly.
Absolutely.
Excellent. So thank you, Pet Psychic Amina, for presenting inexpensive and creative ways to train and reward your dog. Beautiful show. What's the best way for people to reach out to you? I know that you'd like to have people connect on LinkedIn. How else?
I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn, and all the live videos are here. If you want to see what we've done in the last year, Dr. JACALYN and I, giving out tons of free information. bridgingworlds.us is my website, and all these links, all the things I've already mentioned, are all there. I'm not trying to do more social media. I'm trying to do good social media. So that's what Dr. JACALYN and I are putting out. And you can see the picture with me with that puppy is one of the dogs I was working with at the time. It was so cute. So cute. Bichon Frise was the first one I'd worked with as a Bichon Frise. But, and he went into service. He went into service and works with people with mental illness. And it's just wonderful because he's still doing that.
Outstanding. And thank you so much. We have your LinkedIn profile. People can go right here and connect with you.
Thank you.
And we look forward to having another fabulous episode next week. Thanks everyone for being here today, wherever you are in the world. I hope that you find the joy, I forget how to say it, but just that absolute gratitude and affection for waking up and being here for another day.
We all have something to give. If you haven't found what your gift is, that's okay. Come see Dr. JACALYN's other shows and mine. And there's so many, I think, Dr. JACALYN, light bulb moments that I think we can take away and go, you know what? I hadn't thought about it that way. And that's what we're all trying to do, is get you to be supported, but also maybe think of a creative way that you just didn't ever think was possible for you.
Absolutely. And, I wish we had it here, but we don't. You have received an award, and we'll bring it up the next time. I think I emailed it to you, but you got an award during our anniversary show, and we will be spotlighting. It's already all over social media, but we'll bring it up for the next show.
Thank you. Wonderful woman.
Thank you. All right. Bye, everyone. Bye, Amina. See everyone later. Bye.